Good to have different opinions. I mean, it's similar like if you go to India, you go to a family and maybe every member in the family, you might have 5 members and they might each be worshipping a different god or goddess, the same family under the same roof. So this is what it becomes when you don't follow an organized religion. There's a difference between an organized religion and a religion where everybody thinks that they believe in God and their perspective of God is the truth. Yes? And that's why we need a higher authority to tell us what is the objective truth about what God is, because the best explanation about anyone or anything is if it comes from themselves. Yes? Rather than us trying to figure out what God is. Because everyone will have their own subjective views, You must think God is X, Y, and Z. You must think God is A, B, and C, and so on.
But if someone says God spoke to them, right? Let's just give this example. How do you know that isn't objective? How do you know that person isn't telling the truth?
I'm not saying that if somebody says God spoke to them, it's false. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm saying we will obviously listen to them and investigate and ask them in detail as to what exactly did God tell you. So if what they say is contrary to what God has told us in our scriptures through Revelation, then obviously they are not speaking the truth. But if it is in sync with what God has told us, then we have no problem in saying that, okay, if you saw some inspiration in your dream or something like that, because I don't think anyone is going to say that God appeared to me in this form and told me X, Y, and Z. Because for a Muslim, we don't believe God is someone who is like anything in this world or anything in your imagination. He's beyond your imagination, beyond your understanding. Yes? But he has not left us in total darkness either. He has given us certain attributes and characteristics by which we recognize that this is God. See what I mean? So it's not left to us to understand God, because God has told us what He is. For example, God has told us that He's immortal, He doesn't die. God has told us that He's eternal, that He's all-knowing. And to be honest, if you look at all the organized religions in the world, they will have these things in common and they all agree with it. So there is some remnant of truth in this, which is universal, isn't it?
But you're saying he left us in the dark, right? He left us, or
He did not leave us, I said.
yeah, sorry. You said he did not leave us in the dark.
He did not leave us in the dark. He sent us messengers and messages through Revelation, which gave us the guidance, yes, how to seek Him, how to worship Him, and what pleases Him.
It's a him.
Yes, it's a, well, in the sense that of him and her gender, yes, we don't believe God is someone who has a gender. Because in Arabic, the default, there's no it in Arabic, So we say it for the tree or for the animals and so on. In English, there's a neutral pronoun. In Arabic, there's no neutral pronoun. So the default is a he. And that's why we say he. Yeah. But in reality, there is no, God doesn't really represent a gender, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's
So yeah, you guys had some questions. Any particular questions?
No, I just wanted to know what you deem the truth is.
Yeah.
That's what.
The truth, like I said.
I want to be told, because I'm someone from the neutral standpoint. I want to be told, but
No, fair enough. So, as I said, God hasn't left us to fend for ourselves. So obviously He created us, yes, and He brought us in this world, and He didn't just leave us here unguided.
But how
So in the Quran, Allah says that there's not a single nation out there which hasn't, where a prophet did not come to warn them, yes, and to guide them. So every nation on the earth has been sent a prophet or a messenger to guide them and to warn them. Guide them to the truth, warn them from the consequences if you disobey God. Okay? And for us, we believe that in this series of messengers and prophets, starting from the first prophet Adam, first man, all the way to the last prophet, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, yes? All the prophets, they have the same message. To worship one God and do not associate partners with Him.
But how could you sort of believe that if, personally speaking, like, these are the things that I haven't seen with my own two eyes. I don't think anyone has seen it. I don't think anyone has seen this what you're saying. So how do you know it's the truth? how are you telling me? I asked you for the truth. How are you telling me that that's the truth?
So, as a human being, you have certain characteristics which allows you to understand the world around you. So you can discern what is right and wrong. Yes, since you were a baby. Yes, obviously after a certain age. Yeah, and this is something which is intrinsic, which is inbuilt. You have been programmed with this. Yes, this we call the fitra, the natural disposition, and we always lean towards monotheism, towards belief in the oneness of God. Okay, because belief in multiple gods in a way is not only illogical, but it is also incoherent. For example, if there were two gods, they both had same power because they both are God. They both are powerful. What if there was a disagreement amongst them? Yes? So one God says, I want sunrise now. Another says, no, I want sunset now. Opposing views, opposing opinions. How do they get around this? They can't. Because one has to submit to the other. You see? One has to humble himself. And this is never going to work because once the other God humbles or submits, then he's no longer the Almighty. See what I mean? So always the default position has been, the true default position is worship in a monotheistic notion of God. Yes? Now you're asking how will I ascertain if something is the truth?
You can't.
No, you can't by yourself, in the sense that everyone will have their own opinions, you know, of the truth. Yeah, so you all will have your own opinion. That's why we have to go to what is the objective truth. Yes, not subjective. So objective in the sense that when you present it to any third person, they can't refute, they can't deny. It's going to be, for example, I'll give you an example. Imagine you both are in a room, yes, and I ask one of you, what is the temperature? Is the room temperature okay for you? You'll say, no, it's a bit warm. You'll say, no, it's a bit cold. You know, both of you have subjective views because our bodies are different and we perceive our environment differently, including the temperature. Now, how would you convince a third person what is the exact temperature, objectively?
Thermometer, maybe.
Yes, good answer.
Yeah.
So,
That's the only way, right?
when you present the temperature using a thermometer, which is the tool, the right tool, to identify the right temperature and in an objective manner using a tool, then no one can deny that. Yes? Similarly, when it comes to the truth, it should be such that no one can deny it. For example, I ask the atheists, where did this world come from? Where did the universe come from? And most of them, they would say, I don't know. Or they would say, we will know in future when science finds out. You see, science is also a tool, just like the thermometer. But just like every tool, it has its limitations. Yes, there are certain things which science is very good at understanding, which is normally the physical world, the naturalistic world we see around, that we perceive, that we observe. Yes, and it's quite good at that. However, there are certain things which it has no scope. For example, things which are metaphysical. I don't know what your understanding is of, or whether you believe in a metaphysical existence or not. So
No, but just to go off topic. But just to go off topic on what would you say? When was this world made? When was it? When was it? Who made it? What's your belief on that?
well, as a Muslim, I'll say, because I go based on the revelation I received from the Quran. So Allah is Al-Khaliq. He's a creator of everyone, everything. Yeah. So he's the one who is eternal, ever existing. He's the uncaused cause. Yes, he's the uncreated being who created everyone else.
So he created everything. He created everything here that you see. That's basically.
Yeah. So obviously, when I ask you guys, you say no, we came from our parents. But then if I ask you who created them, and if you go on to the series, you're going to end up with somewhere where it says, I don't know anymore.
No.
Yes.
No. Yes, you're gonna end up somewhere where nobody knows. I feel like nobody's going to answer that question for you.
Yeah, but you can't say nobody. That's again your subjective understanding. For me, there's no such thing as the universe coming from nothing. Yeah, that will be illogical, yes, incoherent, and something that our logical reasoning will not accept.
See, but my reasoning and my thing is, it might not be what I just said. Is it subjective? You said subjective views.
So let me ask you a direct question. Where do you think the universe came from?
Good question. I don't know.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but that's not really the solution, is it?
Yeah, but
by the way, you're being you're being honest. You're being true. I have no doubt about that. However, that's not the solution, is it? when somebody tells me what's in this box here, yes, and you say I don't know, does that mean there's nothing in the box? Exactly my point. So that's not the answer. That's what I'm saying. When you say I don't know, you are now saying that this is my position of being agnostic. Yes, I'm agnostic about this, so hence this is my position.
Right.
But in reality, that doesn't really solve the problem, does it? It doesn't answer the question.
But then you telling me what you told me doesn't answer the question either.
I haven't told you yet. Oh, actually, I did. I tell you it's from God. How does that
hasn't
not answer the
that
question?
hasn't answered the question. because-
Why not?
Prove it to me that.
Okay, so now you're going. Now that's a different question.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
So when you say prove it to me, okay, let me take you through what we call through inference. Yes, through logical deduction, through reasoning. Okay, if I told you that the universe came from nothing, what would you say?
it could potentially came from nothing. Who knows?
No, but
That's my belief. I don't know.
that's
How? Why? Who?
you said it potentially came from nothing. Does nothing exist?
Gregory, I should say Andrew Gregory, known as Tattoo.
Does nothing exist?
I mean, I would say nothing does not exist. Like, but I think differently to him. So
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I just want to know about the nothingness, because he says it potentially came from nothing.
Yeah.
If nothing does not exist, then there's no way that it can bring about something.
Again, that's a good question. It's a good question for me to answer and think about.
Yeah,
It's
of
good.
course.
Like,
That's the idea. That's the idea for this question and answers.
of course.
So if nothing doesn't exist, can we now agree that it could not be possible for it to bring into existence something? Because it doesn't even exist. How can something that doesn't even exist, logically, that you would infer that it brings about something that doesn't?
You're possibly correct.
I'm not possibly, I'm definitely correct.